In today's business environment, to effectively engage customers, to identify and capture new opportunities, organizations must have a complete and connected view across their customers and all operations. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is the next generation of intelligent business applications that gives you that visibility. It empowers everyone in an organization to make data-driven decisions, drive productivity, and modernize business growth. It enables sellers to have a constant pulse on their customers. They can capture social media and market activity that could lead to the next big opportunity. Integrated applications enable individuals to seamlessly share actionable insights with their team, ensuring that they are staying ahead of their customers' needs. Sales leaders who rely on this insight can take initiative on the go, from wherever they are in the world and on virtually any device. Working together seamlessly, Dynamics 365, Office 365, and Advanced Analytics allow sales teams to collaborate across geographies and give them business intelligence at their fingertips. The sales and operations capabilities of Dynamics 365 gives you the visibility into your business activity, which is critical for sales teams to understand the global needs of customers, their own capacity, and the confidence to deliver on time and at scale. Relationship Insights give sellers up-to-the-minute intelligence on their customer interactions, so every engagement is informed and every seller is prepared to close the deal. As a deal closes, the warehouse, manufacturing, and production teams are immediately notified. Dynamics 365 gives a business real-time insight into customer and market demand, so they can plan more accurately, order the right materials, and optimize internal operations. As orders are fulfilled, invoices are automatically generated and shipped. Customers are updated about the status of their order from sale to delivery. The entire experience is unified from the first time the customer engages with your business through delivery of the product. Dynamics 365 gives you a complete view of your business. Deliver amazing experiences to your customer and build lasting relationships.
Please welcome Param Kahlon.
Good afternoon. You guys hear me okay? Good. Well, welcome, and thank you for being here. This is an awesome time to be part of the journey that's helping businesses transform themselves. There's so much that we can do together in helping companies move and transition through this digital transformation era. We've got some pretty exciting product announcements to make. We've got some good product videos to show. And perhaps most excited, I am most excited about two very special customers here who are going to share the stage with me and talk about how they're using Dynamics 365 to manage a transformation within their organization. So with that, let's get started. You guys have seen this probably earlier today. You know, the vendors that sold business applications in the world about 10, 15 years ago broadly categorized business problems into two spaces, CRM and ERP, because those are the problems they were solving. However, business owners do not consider their business to be either CRM or ERP. Business owners are really trying to solve problems that are catered to the tasks that they are trying to solve for their customers. And they go from all the way from sales, customer service, finance, operations, talent, and that's what we're focused on, is how do we actually help solve the problems that we're trying to solve. On top of that, what we're doing is we're trying to build a layer of intelligence across that business process, the layer of business intelligence that helps not only provide reporting and analytics and gets the KPIs that drive the business, but more importantly, helps drive the next best action that people that are driving the sales process, the customer service process, are able to use to move forward and engage their customers on. So digital transformation, you know, you've heard that phrase, it's a buzzword, but it's real. There's people that are actually using digital transformation, and there's real hard facts behind what's driving digital transformation. It's really technology. Technology is across four key trends. First of all, you know, what we're doing around omni-channel engagement. We use, if you have kids that are teenagers or younger, you probably communicate with them through social media messaging rather than by phone. Well, those kids are now using the social media channels as they come into the workforce to communicate not amongst themselves, to collaborate amongst themselves, but also engage with the companies that they do business with. So how do companies deal with these channels that are emerging? You still got to support the traditional channels of email and phone and web browser, but you got to support newer channels and supporting them. The second thing that's happening is data and analytics. We're collecting more data than ever before. I think there was a statistic that we've collected more data in the last 2 years than we've collected in the history of data collection as a mankind. Right? So we're collecting more data, but now we have the compute power and the resources to be able to analyze that data, make sense of it, drive decisions, and really help factor in the things people want to take. The third thing is cloud. Cloud is not only is it something that runs outside of the four walls of the enterprise, but as we build solutions in the cloud, as we use solutions in the cloud, it's no longer about IT providing the solutions that is going to 6 months to about 3 years to deploy. It is the rapid pace at which cloud solutions get adopted and used by customers, and that's driving a lot of the transformation around the cloud solutions. And last but not the least, artificial intelligence. Some people call the age that we live in as the fourth industrial revolution, because everything that we use, everything that we touch today and will touch tomorrow will have intelligence in it. It will basically be able to suggest things that you want to do, whether it's equipment that we buy for washing our dishes at home, or whether it's a piece of software that you buy to run your customer service or sales processes. It'll all be embedded with intelligence, and that's driving a lot of the change. So why is customer experience so important in this digital era? Because it really all starts at the experience you provide to the customers. It all begins with building trust. And building trust is all about the transparency that digital transformation provides across the entire value chain that the company is dealing with. Being able to make sure that the visibility of the order as it's getting processed through the supply chain, through the manufacturing plant, through the warehousing, and it's getting shipped, as that's provided all the way to the customers. And getting that visibility through and through is what helps build trust with the customers. It helps drive business growth, right? It helps build brand recognition and value. Customer solutions, customer-effective solutions, these drive the top-line growth. So they're really important to be able to do that. And most importantly, this is a solution that helps build trust, helps build loyalty, helps build customers do more with the solution that you're providing to them. So we're going to break our sections into 3 broad areas today. We'll talk first about how are we enabling digital experiences for the customers. Right? We'll talk about connected data and graph and what are the insights that we're gathering from the data and the connected graph that we're looking at. And we'll take a look at common extensibility model, and we'll have interesting demos to share after each one of these things that we talk about. So let's talk about the first one, digital experiences to engage customers. Now, as I said earlier, there's lots and lots of channels that people are engaging with companies on. And a lot of companies have kind of figured out how to support these channels. You probably have a social media strategy today, and you probably have a traditional call center technology today, and you probably can handle chat communication with customers on the website as well. But are these channels connected? Research tells us that there's about, if you look at, there's an average about 8 or more channels that a company deals with their customers on. But there's only about 8% of the customers that have actually been able to synchronize and use this data across these channels so that they can get one view of the customer across all the engagement that they're having with these customers. The other stuff that's happening in engagement and around the way you're building digital customers experiences is bots. Bots are used to drive not just chat communication, but the bot technology is now used to engage customers in scale. And bots aren't just something that you use to support a communication technology within a chat conversation. Bots can be now deployed across every single channel in which you're engaging with customers on. It could be traditional channels. Bots could be used to respond to emails. Bots could be used to respond to chat conversation. They could be in the messaging applications and platforms. Bots are the key thing that's driving a lot of the customer engagement strategies in 2017. IoT has been big for a few years now, but it's finally coming to a stage where it's economical for companies that are selling a $30 device to put an IoT sensor in there, and it's feasible for them to collect all of that data that they're collecting through the sensors into the cloud, and then they can start to process it. They can use the processes to not just drive predictive maintenance kind of solutions, but they can use it to drive solutions that can help cross-sell and upsell type of value propositions to these customers. I want to talk to you about one of our customers that has recently made the decision to choose Dynamics 365 in the cloud. HP. HPI used to run a number of systems that manage their customer-facing processes. They had Salesforce.com for SFA. They had Click Software for field service. They had a host of systems that managed their customer service and support strategy across systems. 24,000 people at HPI across sales and customer service and field service now run on Dynamics 365 in the cloud, and they're getting immense value out of it, mostly because for the first time, they're able to not only get a complete view of the customer, but they're able to get the intelligence, the analytics, the reporting that helps them get a sense of what their business is and what they're able to do. So a huge success story for HPI and kind of what they're able to do. What they also like about the solutions is a lot of their people actually live within Office 365. They like the immersive capability of having data, having all of their interface and the business data available directly within Office 365, so they're able to drive a lot of that capability around each one of those things. So what's really important is as HPI has said, is being able to get a comprehensive view of engagement with your customers across every single channel. Being able to know that chat transaction that converted into a co-browse session, that converted into a voice interaction, that converted into a field service visit, and being able to follow this end-to-end chain of transaction that happened with the customer and being able to follow the same consistent process and SLA and the metrics you follow across the entire thing is what adds tremendous value to the experience that companies are trying to deliver to their customers in this digital era. Now, what's really also important is that we don't forget the employees. Employees are now getting asked to do more than they've ever been asked to do. No longer am I just a phone-based agent. I'm a phone-based agent, but I'm also expected to deal with customers on social media. I'm also expected to do chat transactions when I have free time. I'm also expected to do a number of things. When there's so much demand on employees, you want to make sure that the interfaces, the UI, the applications that you give to your employees, they feel empowered. They feel like they have what they need to be able to do their job. And that's really important and critical as well. And that's one of the reasons we are investing very deeply in ensuring that the applications that we build are not only intuitive, they're actually fun to play with, they're fun to work with, they're fun for the person that's sitting 8 hours in front of the desk, staring at that computer monitor and doing, case triage by case triage day over day. So what we're going to do is invite Louis to come up on stage and give us just a quick demonstration of some of the things that we've created. And some of what you're going to see is not released yet. It's still in preview. But this is something that we're going to release very shortly, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Over to you, Louis.
Thank you. So digital experiences include multiple form factors, right? So this is a sneak peek of our Dynamics 365 for mobile and tablet application. We did a lot of enhancements here. We incorporated better use of white space, borders, a more intuitive style for our tabs. Also added this timeline control here in the middle. I can continue to add notes. I can now take a picture too if you're into selfies or service requests. And I can also now rapidly navigate to my lists from within the experience. Moving to we love our business process flow, and we've also made enhancements there. Let me take a quick look here to show you. We're incorporating better use of white space as well, but now you can expand and dock on the right as needed. Now, this is just a sneak peek, but let's switch gears now into a more advanced productivity scenario for our employees. This is Dynamics 365 for customer service. As an agent, I can see my active cases in a single view. I can do groupings by origin, which would be all the channels that Param just talked to you guys about, from email to auto-generated channels, such as IoT devices. Let's I want to also highlight real quick that you can make edits inline in our list view. And this is important from an employee productivity perspective. I don't have to get into the record to make edits. If the data is here, I can make these edits really quick. Now, let's focus on one case. And I'm going to go to my most critical one. And this defective item, at a glance, has absolutely everything that I need in order to service my customer. I see the case details. I also see my customer details and recent cases associated to this. But more importantly, as an agent, I'm being guided by the business process flow here to help me resolve this case for my customer. Let's research this case a bit. Similar cases, if I hit Find here, what you see in this result set, it's powered by machine learning. These are related cases that we have actually built a model for, where we are presenting them to the agent for them to figure out if something like this that previously worked could help my existing customer. Now, we won't stop there. We are also presented with knowledge-based articles that automatically match certain case attributes in order to troubleshoot this record or this case. Now, I may not find the solution based on everything that I saw today, and this really requires the scheduling of a field service technician visit. So I'm going to send somebody out. So I'm just going to click yes in here, and notice now my business process flow just expanded, right? There's an entire work order process now that branched into my previous one, but as an agent, I don't have to know all the details on how to book a technical or a technician for a scheduled visit. We are empowering agents to simply say, I want to book. And what happens is, is I'm being presented with Schedule Assistant. And what Schedule Assistant does is, without me knowing what the right resource is based on skill match, or when they are available, I can just pick from the list because this list has been prioritized for the case that I'm trying to book a technician for. I select a person, I hit book, and I am done. I don't have to know more details. Now, that's a single case, right? But call centers, customer centers, they do a lot of volume, right? What I could do is, in my schedule board, I could continue to manually drag and drop, as an example, work orders to the right resource. But we have actually done something better. We are now able to do high-volume scheduling for businesses. We've expanded the scheduling of work orders, the scheduling of cases to other line of businesses that require high-volume scheduling, so that now automatically the system is, as requests are coming in, resource schedule optimization is grabbing all these and simply schedule them for us. Now, this is an example from an IoT device to a self-service app that we saw in Satya's demo that automatically confirms appointments. So imagine the endless efficiency gains by an organization and the amazing customer experiences that brings to us. And with that, back to you, Param. Thank you.
It's awesome. Good. So as you saw, there's two key things we showed in this demonstration, Louis showed in the demonstration today. You saw a nice user experience that gets employees more productive, that gives them what they need to be able to get that done in an interface that is is not too dense. At the same time, there's not a whole lot of white space, but it's fluid, it's responsive, it gets them going, it shows them the business process, it shows them the key information that they need to get their work done. And the second part of that, we saw a feature built in that basically derives outcome-driven or outcome-oriented business processes. It lets you schedule the technician that you need, but without having to learn who's got the skills, without having to learn who's got availability for it. So it helps you handle the workload, handle what you want to do, and really give employees the empowerment to be able to handle the cases, handle the workflow and the processes that they have to do. So what I'm going to do is now we're going to invite a customer on stage. But before, as Paul comes up, we're going to play a video of Sodexo. Paul is the CEO of Global Mining Operations at Sodexo, and he's going to come and talk about how they've deployed field service. I'm going to ask him some questions. But while that's happening, let's play a quick video and see the deployment in action while Paul's coming up on stage.
In our industry, digital transformation is really about competitive advantage for us. Sodexo are in several sectors: resources, in oil and gas, and in mining. We're also in education, in healthcare. Microsoft helped make our digital transformation achievable in a number of ways, creating a platform that allowed us to deliver flexibility, adapt, adopt, keep innovating, moving forward. It really was about being able to focus on any stakeholder in any environment at any time and deliver some kind of value.
At Sodexo, the area I work in, we actually cover 500,000 square kilometres. Dynamic 365 field service allows us to track every work order that's coming through and to prioritise out in the field with our tradesmen. Having the visibility to see the performance each day allows us to work on what we need to improve on a daily basis.
Digital is evolving what we've got, building on it, adapting new technology as it's built, and being able to realise the benefits sooner, earlier, faster, and learn from that is critical to us staying ahead.
So Paul, thank you very much for being here. Something tells me it was a long trip for you to get here. Tell us a little bit about how long was it for you to get here? Was it like something tells me it took a long flight to get here?
Yeah, Param, listen, thanks very much first for welcoming us across here. But yeah, look, in my role, I'm used to travel. So normally my longest journey is about 33 hours. But at this time, coming from Perth, Australia, it was a nice 39 hours.
Oh my God!
So yeah, great fun.
Goodness. Well, thank you very much for it. Really appreciate it. So the video was great. It was awesome to see the impact that our products are having in a business model. But tell us a little bit about Sodexo and the business of Sodexo and kind of what it is that you guys do in your own words.
So in mining, we operate in 20 countries around the world, employing around 10,000 people. We work in some of the most remote environments you can imagine. So, for example, in South America, we work at altitude, and we can get up to 14 to 18,000 feet. And in Western Australia, we can be working in temperatures up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So, it's a pretty diverse business. We provide services to the mining sector for non-production areas. So we manage the villages, we manage things like transportation, aviation, we manage building maintenance services, as you saw from the video, and everything from property management all the way through to operating town services, would you believe, where we have literally whole towns that we support.
Wow, very impressive, very impressive. Now, you've replaced more than 20 systems with Dynamics 365 in Azure. What is the kind of impact this is having in your business?
So, look, the first thing for us was we've been challenged by all of our customers constantly around to provide much more visibility and transparency, and many things you talked about, right. An opportunity to build trust and give them more information earlier and sooner and so on. So we really were faced with a challenge that we needed to integrate systems. Unfortunately for us, in that same time frame, we'd identified the work that Microsoft were doing with D365 and field services. So the real critical thing for us was pace and agility. Typically for us, putting in new systems can take 2.5 years, but we needed something that we could mobilize much quicker, that didn't demand a lot of coding, that we could just rely on configuration changes to deliver what we needed. And in fact, we were able to mobilize a significant part of the mining sector in less than 6 months.
Wow.
So that was really the key driver.
That's awesome. That's great. That's good return on value. Now, I understand that you're also getting a lot of real-time information through this deployment. How is that helping you deliver a better experience to your customers?
Yeah, look, there's something really dynamic about having real-time data. And one of the things for us was when you're working in remote locations and you're trying to have oversight to operations, and particularly where, we've got a really serious focus around safety. We've got people traveling thousands of kilometers between sites, and often there's a limit to the amount of connectivity that we've got. So the key thing for us was really being able to, in real time, see the impact of decision making and be able to act sooner. You don't want to wait 2-3 weeks to understand you've got an issue. You really want to be able to act sooner. And to be quite honest, since we started the journey, we've seen trends around that real-time data just constantly improving because we're getting to the problems sooner. We're able to resolve them quicker, and it's enhancing the experience of our employees and our consumers.
Fascinating. Very impressive. So tell us about digital transformation. Is this real for you? Is this making an impact on your business? Is it driving any change in your organization? Share your thoughts about that.
Look, I can't really emphasize how significant the changes are. We have really transformed our business model over the last few years. It's really enabling us to do things in a very different way and put new processes in place. And I wanted to just share one example with you because it's often quite hard in a sort of ethereal way to explain value and benefit. But when at the very beginning we first put the solution in place, one of the things we were able to do was move away from, for example, having multiple service providers in the same area with the requirements of having to communicate constantly. And I'll give you an example of a flight delay, which might seem really simple, but in the Pilbara, in the sort of height of summer, having 300 people sitting in an aerodrome, which is not necessarily fitted with the latest air conditioning and facilities, can be a huge risk. And in the old world, it would have taken a huge effort for everybody to understand the impact of the delay, the time of that delay, and what we should do with all of those people that we now had to temporarily home until flights arrived. And sometimes that would mean them sitting in that environment and us having to put things like water supplies and so on in place. But the very first delay we had after go live, it was seamless. We didn't have that mass movement of people because we knew earlier. Yeah. We were therefore able to contain them in the right environment, and we were able to keep everybody fully informed throughout. And it was the first thing that our customer commented on. It was, one of the most seamless experiences they'd had. So we knew we were really driving the experience, both for the consumer, the customer, and for our own employees who felt in control. They were more empowered to make the right decisions.
That's a great example of how just, information propagation can help drive a better customer experience at the end. It's a great example. One last question, I'll let you go. Tell us about predictive analytics. What are you doing with predictive analytics? Are you taking advantage of all this new data that you're collecting real time or not real time? And how is that changing the business model for you?
Yeah, look, a lot's been said about predictive analytics, and in the past it's existed in different sectors, and particularly where you're managing assets and you're able to sort of predict the reliability of them. But in our world, we're much more interested in how we use predictive analytics to inform demand. And the biggest challenge to us is really understanding our customer demand patterns, understanding where we need to put resources and when. And as you can imagine, we're transporting people thousands of kilometers each time we have a demand surge. It's really important for us to be able to understand what's going on. And that's probably the biggest thing we've seen. We've been able to more accurately predict the requirements on our resources, on our assets, and on our people. And look, as time goes on, we know we'll get better, we'll improve, and we'll see the opportunities to get ahead of our customers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Paul. I truly appreciate it.
Thanks very much for inviting me along.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is super impressive. There was a point in time I was talking to somebody about deploying a field service application, and they said, listen, deploying fields, this is a partner of ours, they said deploying field service is complex. It's not just like putting in a CRM system. It's actually putting in a CRM system and an ERP system and a supply chain system all at the same time. And it's impressive that, Paul, you and your team were able to do that in 6 months. So impressive, very good. All right, so we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about connected data and the graph and the insights that we can collect from the connected data and graph based on that. You know, you guys have probably heard this term, data is the new currency. Data is everything. Data drives the insights that we can get. Data drives what you can do with it, and the more data you have, the better it is, right? It no longer is, you know, storing data and managing data a problem. We have the compute, we have the resources to be able to do it. But what I see a lot of time is that, you know, this data is coming from many different channels. You know, you've got internal data that you're collecting across the different systems you have in the organization. You've got external data you're collecting from social media. You've got data coming from LinkedIn. You've got behavioral data coming from web click streams, what people are clicking on, what they're doing. And all of a sudden, you have all this data, and all sits in silos, all sits in different, you know, buckets within an organization or access APIs that the organization has access to. And quite often, there's not much you can do with that data, right? You can get, you know, that data just sits there and it's not generating any insights. It's not making an outcome on your business. And that is one of the key challenges that we're trying to solve with our technology and our products. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But I wanted to, before we go there, talk a little bit about one of the customers and what they were able to do with some of this data and insights and they were able to do. So Ingram Micro is the largest technology wholesale company in the world, right? They basically have, you know, they operate in 170 different markets. They have more than 200 different thousand value-added resellers that they work with. This is a very large business. They were running their sales process in multiple different applications. They had over 30 different workflows in which they were managing the process in a deployment of Salesforce.com, and they just had enough. And they decided to basically make a change and move to Dynamics 365. 66 days. That's what it took them to basically move all of these systems into Dynamics 365, and they had one single process that managed basically the entire sales process after this was deployed. They got a lot of value by just aggregating all of the data that sat in different systems, pouring all of that into Dynamics 365, and being able to leverage all of that for the interactions that they're having with their customers. They were able to provide a comprehensive view for the first time for the customer and really go into a model where they were not reacting to things that happen, but really being more proactive about the outreach, more proactive about the support that they were giving, not just to their customers, but to internal employees as well. So a really good story about, about what Ingram was able to do with their product. So what we're trying to do, based on the inspiration that we saw and the value that some of our customers derive from just having all the data in one place, is really build a tool and technology to be able to say, as you have this data in silos, how do we actually get all of that data in one place? And you'll see in the demonstration in a little bit, we're basically building connectors to hundreds of systems where you're able to ingest that data at scale and then being able to very quickly do a graph around that system so that once you've got that data graph, once you've got all the data and all the ways in which you're interacting with that customer that you want to get some insights on, you're able to get that data graph very easily in a big data environment, and then being able to do machine learning, so you're able to get insights and get intelligence out of that. So let's take a quick look at the demonstration of what this technology is. I'd like to invite Carlos to come up on stage and show us the demo and tell us a little bit about what this technology looks like. So Carlos.
All right, thank you, Param. All right, I'm going to be talking about data integration as a whole, right? So there are 3 different scenarios that I'm going to be covering here. And the first one is going to be virtual entities. But before I do, I want you to notice that I have this refreshed web client experience that I loaded up. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So notice that we address some of the issues that we have with web client. And you're going to see that we're going to making better use of the screen space. There's less white space around the controls. The elements are within those well-defined containers. And we also have the font standardized across the entire application. So this is important because it leads to an overall better experience, because it makes the experience easier to consume. All right, enough about that. So I'm going to switch from opportunity into my account form. And you're going to notice that on my account form, I dropped 2 grids here. One is for files, and the other one is for external orders. So what the files grid is doing is leveraging a custom data connector that is leveraging the Dropbox SDK. So it's going to Dropbox, looking at a folder, and bringing me all the files that are relevant for this account. And it's presenting that to the system as records, and it's presenting on the native grid. The same thing is happening with external orders. So on external orders, what we are using is a custom OData provider that we configured for this demo. And what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and expand this external data, this grid. And you can see that just like any regular grid, I can do all the operations that you would expect. So I can sort the items. And I can also go ahead, as soon as it loads, I can also go ahead and search for an item here. So maybe 652, and it's going to bring me the record. So this is important because virtual entities are seamless ways of bringing records from external systems into Dynamics without having to rely on mashups. And this becomes a very powerful experience because I'm using the native controls. The next thing that we have is data integration services. Now, data integration services have been around since July, but we have been iterating over this too. And one of the things that we brought this time is Power Query. So the same capabilities that you have on Power BI and Excel are also now going to be available on data integration services as well. So one of the things that Power Query allows us to do is bring information from different data sources. So right off the bat, we have 25 different data providers. And then we're going to expand that to the 75 that are available on the desktop application. So the first thing I do is bring the data in. And the next thing I'm going to do is apply some transformations. There are frankly perhaps dozens of different transformations that we can apply here, and we don't have time to cover them now, so I'm just going to give you a taste. One of the things that I can do is perhaps select two columns here, and I'm going to apply a transformation that says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and merge those two columns. And I'm going to merge those two pieces of data with a comma. The other thing that I can do is go ahead and combine the tables. So maybe my query is getting two different data sets. And just like I could do on a regular SQL expression, I can set a join type with left outer join, right outer join, whatever makes sense in my scenario. All right, so I brought the data in through the providers. I applied some transformations. What can I do now? So the next step is to apply all this data and apply some mapping. So on the left-hand side, you're going to notice that I have the account entity from Dynamics for sales. And on the right-hand side, I have the contact entity for Dynamics for operations. So this mapping is bringing the attributes from one and saying how it relates to the attributes of the other. Now, what's interesting is that this becomes a job in my system. And I can run this once as a one-time migration task, or I can schedule it to run multiple times so that the systems are periodically being kept in sync. So this is one of the mappings that we have. These are actually template mappings. And back in July, we only had a limited number of templates just to kind of showcase the capabilities. But this time, what we're doing is adding a number of new templates that, frankly, what they do is enable the entire, what we call the prospect to cash business process. So all the entities that participate in the prospect to cash, things like invoices, sales orders, customers, contacts, everything is going to be mapped with these templates. And if you have customization on your data entities on operations or sales, what you can do is go ahead, apply these templates, and then just quickly add it. Maybe add an additional mapping, or maybe add an additional transformation. The next thing we're going to have is called the Dynamics for Customer Insights. So this is a way for us to bring together independent data silos through a process that we call inference-based connections. So what is this about? What I'm looking for here, what I'm looking at is an airline. So this airline has different data silos that are not necessarily connected. And it's capturing information about the customers, the flights, the airplanes, the meals that were served, the seats, the award miles. So you can imagine that these are potentially millions and millions of records, especially if you start considering bots or if you start considering other things like IoT. And what I'm telling the system is how these different data silos can connect to each other, right, through this inference-based connection. And what's interesting is that this is a 360-degree view of my customer. I'm looking at a customer called Juan. And what I can do here is navigate through this graph of interconnected data and find information around one. So one of the things that I can see is one of the flights that this person has taken, and also whether or not they connected to Wi-Fi, right? So I can quickly navigate this dashboard and traverse my different graphs. So this is the view of the flight, and I can see all the different people that have taken this flight and how they were distributed across the different classes. Let me go ahead and go back to my previous view, because there's something interesting here. Now that I have all this data connected, all those different graphs, two of the things that I can do that are very interesting is apply predictive matching and predictive scoring. So for predictive scoring, what I'm doing here is looking at all the data that I have about Juan and all the information that I have about other customers and trying to estimate whether or not this person is going to accept our award miles credit card. So many airlines do that. And the predictive matching algorithm is telling me that it's likely that he will, because he has a 76 score, grade A, so very likely. There's a catch, though, because this person has actually declined this card. So my assumption as a business analyst is that maybe we offered this credit card in the past when he was not yet ready to take in this product. So again, as a business analyst, I'm looking for additional evidence that tells me that this is the right time to offer this credit card again. And turns out that my organization was running a marketing campaign and trying to extract a list of leads, so people interested in the credit card product. Wouldn't it be great to match that list that marketing provided with my database of customers? And that's exactly what predictive matching is doing. Now, it's not a one-to-one relationship, so the predictive matching is not 100% accurate, but it's giving me with 94% accuracy that Juan is part of that list, and so he's interested in his credit card, and I'm able to sell him. It's likely that he's going to accept. All right, so we saw predictive matching and predictive scoring in action. Let's actually pivot here a little bit and see how they get configured, because it's super easy. For predictive matching, again, this is the idea of connecting two eventually disconnected data sets. On one side, I have my marketing list, and one of the fields that I have is address. On the other side, I have my customer database on Dynamics, and it's much more structured. You can see that instead of dumping all the information on the address on one field, we have the street name, the city, and the state. So again, not a one-to-one mapping. So what I'm going to do is pick one of these algorithms, the best one, to try to find a match. So each one of these algorithms that we ship is specialized in solving a different class of problems. For address, I have the address algorithm. And then for name, again, the marketing list simplifies things, puts all the names together, but on the Dynamics side, I have two separate fields. Just going to run that, and it's going to find matches just like I showed you on the previous screen. For predictive matching, it's a little different. So this is about segmenting your data, and based on all the different attributes that are correlated, try to find what are the attributes that contribute more for a specific outcome. So the outcome that I'm looking for here is whether or not they are going to accept my credit card offer. So I'm going to tell the system, OK, so we're looking at credit card offer status. And I'm going to tell the system what is a positive status here. So it means that it was accepted. Value equals accepted. On the negative side, I'm looking at the same field, and I'm going to say, OK, so every time you find a value that is declined, that means that it was negative. What the system is going to do is segment my data and try to analyze all the attributes around those perhaps over 2,000 customers that I have in the system already. And it's trying to learn with that. So it's going to produce a balanced model, and this model is going to be applied on my open opportunities and my future opportunities. Again, it's going to consider all the attributes on those opportunities and the past data that it knows about the previous opportunities that were closed successfully or not. And it's going to offer some insights for the business analyst on whether or not it's expected that the outcome is going to be positive or not. So it's very easy for a business analyst to come in, create their own models, and segment the data, train those models, and surface those insights to whoever's operating the system. So we saw three things. We saw virtual entities, we saw data integration services, and we saw customer insights. Back to you, Param.
So that was great. Now with the different sorts of ways in which integrate and break down the silos across the different systems we have. If you wanted to bring data into Dynamics and show it side by side with data from other systems, you can use virtual entities, right? Very easy to configure, very easy to set it up, and it shows up like just as a native grid. If you wanted to go beyond and actually, do data integration that went across systems, right? You want to take my order process that started in CRM, perhaps we had a prospect, a lead that got converted into an opportunity to a quote, and I want to get an order, and now I want to go fulfill that order, but I want to have the data synchronized across those two systems. You can use the data synchronization methods we looked at. And then lastly, if you have a lot of data and you just want to aggregate all that data for the purpose of generating insights, for the purpose of generating predictions based on that data, then you can use something like a Dynamics Customer Insights, a very flexible way to go reason over a lot of data and come up with predictions and things that you're able to do. So with Dynamics Customer Insights, we ship a few out-of-the-box configurable models, right? Lead scoring is one example of a configurable out-of-the-box model. But the reality is that you can use that predictive model, just like how Carlos showed, by pointing to positive outcomes and negative items to generate any kind of prediction. You can use that system to generate my opportunity score. You can use it to generate predictive service that you may have to do. You could use it to generate customer churn analysis. You could use it to the use cases of what you can do with predictive capabilities on this model are pretty easy. And one of the things we've tried to do is not make the system for the data analyst, not make it for the PhDs in data science, but really make it for the system analysts, the business analysts that are responsible for driving digital change, for digitizing the enterprise, and really being able to use them and see what we can do with that. So what I'd like to do is change gears for a little bit and talk about one of our great customers that have been with this journey for a long time, Dow Chemical. I'd like to invite Andy Clark from Dow Chemical to come up on stage, join me here for a brief Q&A, and I'd like to hear their story about what they've done. So Andy, come on up. Good to see you, Andy.
Yep.
So Andy, you've been doing a fair bit of travel yourself, spending time in Europe, spending time in everywhere. So it's great that you're able to make time to come here. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the things that I've noticed is that Dow Chemical has made some news about mergers and acquisition strategy. There's been some news about that. Tell us a little bit about the business of Dow Chemical.
We have. We've been on the path lately. We've had a couple of big deals that have happened, one including kind of a merger with DuPont, and then some spins that will come out of that. But Dow proper was a material sciences company that tries to solve the big problems in the world.
Excellent. Material science, that was a very tough course in college. That's all I remember about material science, but must be really hard. So I'm super excited that you've been with our platform for such a long time. Dow Chemical was one of our first large customers in the cloud 4 or 5 years ago. You started with about 2,500 seats, now up to 5,000. Tell us a little bit about your journey, kind of what are some of the things you've done with the platform, and as you've seen the platform mature and grow, any experiences you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, so when I got to Dow in 2010, we were actually on 4.0, and we were hosted privately, and we kind of worked our way up and got into the cloud in 2013. There's been tremendous advancements from where we started in 4.0, if anybody here was a 4.0 person, to where we are now. I mean, it really drives a big piece of our business, and we're even bringing customer service on here in the next few months.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit about what are you most excited about in the Dynamics 365 platform? That's one of the things you're trying to do.
Yeah. So some of the stuff we just saw, we are actually on a pretty big Power BI project right now to bring some of those insights directly back into Dynamics. And then a lot of the insight stuff, the customer insights, we're starting to get into some of that. And we're excited to see where LinkedIn goes as well. I think that's a big piece of our relationship selling. Excellent,
excellent, great. Would you tell us a little bit about digital transformation? What is happening with digital transformation at Dow Chemical, and how are you leveraging Dynamics 365 to achieve some of those goals?
Yeah, so Dow itself is on a really large sprint right now to get to digital transformation. We realize what it does for our business and where we need to go, and really the manufacturing companies have been kind of behind some of that. So not only from a commercial side, but also from a manufacturing side. CRM's kind of already, I'll say it's already there, it's imprinted in what we're doing. So we were one of the first ones to kind of get there, but it's a large piece of how do we get all that data to the right spots for people to use in the right ways.
Excellent, excellent, great. Tell me a little bit about how do you measure the success of a Dynamics 365 or a CRM implementation? What are the yardsticks? How do you measure, and what benefits you think you've achieved with what you've implemented with Dynamics?
Yeah, so from a large scale, it is the one spot now where we do account and opportunity management. There are no extra spreadsheets allowed, right? We've gotten to that point. It really drives one true process. It allows us to see, you know, the common refrain at Dow is if Dow only knew what Dow knew. So just even who else is in that customer, right? So we always used to have the multiple cars in the parking lot. Now we're trying one car, multiple people.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Andy, very much for being here. Anything else you'd like to share before you leave about your deployment?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Happy to take questions after if anybody wants to talk.
Excellent, thank you. We'll take you up on that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm really excited about Paul and Andy being here today. I can't thank them enough for being here because I think I get a lot of value by learning, you know, how they use our technology and you know, what experiences they've had. But quite frankly, I'd encourage all of you to find them after this meeting as well and ask them questions as well, because I think you will get a lot of value by, you know, by learning from their experiences and the values and the things that they went through as well. So thank you again. We appreciate it. So I'll change gears for a little bit and talk about the sort of the last pillar of things I wanted to cover, which is around common extensibility. Now, as one of the key things we're trying to do as we go into digital enterprise is nothing is constant. It changes, and it changes faster than ever before. What are we doing to be able to support the agility that enterprises need so that they can get what they want out of the system? And there's sort of three pillars to this, and we'll talk about that. So one is business agility. How fast and rapidly can you make the change to what you're trying to implement from a business process perspective? And it spans all the way from being able to create a UI, from being able to create a business logic, from being able to tie a workflow, from being able to integrate, from being able to get insights and actionable intelligence out of what you're trying to do. That's a core pillar of what we're trying to do. You saw some of those demonstrations here, but that's core focus of what we're trying to do. The second thing is cloud adoption. As we think of systems in the cloud, it's not just about putting your data outside the enterprise, but really cloud is all about, you know, what can we do to support agility in business processes? How can we actually get you to implement the new business process tomorrow, not 3 months from now after you've got the hardware procured for the things that you want to be able to, then you can start thinking about that. But how can you actually make the change very quickly? And last but not the least is the ecosystem. The ecosystem enables us as Microsoft. We like to solve a lot of problems here at Microsoft, but quite frankly, we can solve every single problem for every single company in the world, especially when the problems are changing every day and there's new things that every company is trying to do. The ecosystem in the cloud brings forward our ability to be able to solve that last mile of problem that you're trying to solve, not by ourselves, but through our partners, by them being able to innovate on top of our platform, on top of our solutions, so they can provide the value based on that. So one of the key things that we've done in our move to the cloud is we've now fully leveraged the Azure cloud. All of Dynamics 365 now runs natively in the cloud. What does that mean? What benefits do you get out of that? What it means is that now you get unlimited scale that you get with Azure. You're able to scale your infrastructure up or down based on the needs of your business, right? You're able to make sure that if you really have a spike in your business at a certain point in time and you want to prepare for that spike because you're a retail business and you get, you know, that month of November, December, the holiday season, and you really want extra capacity, you don't have to buy the servers and keep them for just those 2 months. You can basically spike up and ask for that extra capacity for those months, and what do you want to do? More importantly, as we've moved the underlying infrastructure to Azure, you're not going to see any change. If you're an existing customer and you're using Dynamics 365, and all of a sudden now you move to the new version of Dynamics 365, you're not going to notice any change in your application, in your solutions. All of that underlying infrastructure and components are seamless and invisible to, you know, customers and partners and the solutions that they deploy. It's the infrastructure benefit that you get from having to deploy in the cloud. One of the things we've also done is create new design experiences that help you build application, help you build forms, help you build views so that you can very quickly and easily build experiences and the things that you want to be able to do on the stack. So as I mentioned earlier, partner ecosystem, this is huge. You know, this helps us create industry-specific expertise. Now, as in our roadmap, we want to build more and more horizontal solutions, more and more solutions that help solve the needs of customers across all industries. But what if you have a unique need across your industry? What if you are a banking customer and you want that banking-specific, KYC process in retail implemented? What if you're a telco customer and you want, the move, add, change, disconnect, order entry application implemented into your application? We have lots of partners that are going and solving those specific problems for those customers. And all of those solutions are now published on the Microsoft application marketplace, where you can come in and find the solution. It's called App Source. There's thousands of solutions there today. And I'm very lucky today that one of those partners, AvePoint, is here today to share with us their solution that they put in the marketplace, some of the problems that they're solving for the public sector customers and their specific solution around 311. So I'd like to invite Dux Raymond Tsai and Paul Olenek on stage to show a little bit of what they've done with their solution on public sector.
Thank you so much. Well, how's everybody doing? I know it's towards the end of the day, but we're going to definitely make your while in the next couple of minutes. My name is Dux Raymond Tsai. I serve as the CMO and Public Sector CTO of AvePoint. AvePoint is a Microsoft independent software vendor. We help companies migrate, manage, and protect your Microsoft investment in the cloud. And we're very excited because we had the opportunity to work with the Microsoft team, the Dynamics 365 team, to put together the best-of-class technology for government customers, all cloud-based. So the solution we put together is a solution and technology called AvePoint Citizen Services. It's intended for cities, counties, and smaller government agencies to leverage the cloud to provide a citizen service solution. Now, you may wonder, what's a citizen service solution? I'm sure at any point in time, as you're driving to work, you may have seen a fallen tree or a pothole. Or maybe you're walking down the street light's not working. Experience that? And then, being a good citizen, you want to report it, but then all it says there, call this number to report the broken light. We don't do that. Easiest thing we do, we take a picture, we post it on Facebook, and we complain. That's what we do. So we want to make it easier for our government organizations to be responsive and maximize the power and the goodness of the cloud to do this. As Param mentioned earlier, we took a lot of the cloud capabilities from Microsoft, Dynamics 365, Azure, and all the advanced workloads in Azure to make this happen. So if you want to try this, I encourage you to check this out. All you have to do is go to Microsoft App Source, Microsoft's Applications Marketplace, and look for Citizen Services. And as soon as you click Try Now, 5 seconds, fully functioning production environment will be ready for you. So let me show you how this works. Imagine a government agency, let's say City of Chicago, deploy this solution, and the solution would have essentially two components. The first component, they would make available an app for citizens to use if they're using mobile device. Obviously, this is cross-platform, cross-device. They can use their computers as well. So let's say I'm walking down the road, and I notice there's a graffiti. And being a good citizen of Chicago, I want to report that there's a graffiti there. So I could go to the app, but what I'm showing you right here, obviously, is through Safari. It's HTML5, very responsive. And I want to report a graffiti. There you go. So as soon as I select that, it tells me some details about the graffiti. By the way, this is fully configurable by the government agency. They can define the different non-emergency services they want to put in. It could be a graffiti, a pothole, broken tree lamp. Any type of case management service they want to provide to their citizens can be made available. So as I hit continue, now it's going to look at my location through the GPS of my device. Obviously, I can put some information. Okay, I saw graffiti in a storefront. It's brick. And as you can see, there's different options on the drop-down, which it's easily customizable by the customer. And when I say customizable, no programming, no development needed. It's self-service, configurable, and easy to deploy. And let me put some description here. Found, let me see, Banksy. All right, is vandalizing the wall. Okay? And then in this scenario, it picked up our location here in Orlando, but let's just say this is somewhere in Chicago that I saw it, and I have all this information, and I took a picture already in the interest of time, and you could take pictures as well. So this is, I call it Banksy in the act. There you go. And I can upload multiple types of pictures and information, and then I can even upload other types of attachments, and let me hit submit. So as soon as I hit submit, friends, what happens? This case, or this information, has now become a case, and it's submitted. Dynamics 365 picks it up. So as soon as I submit it, it gives me details. I have a request number. I can even track all my requests and view all my requests. And then what happens next? It gets submitted. The specific government agency picks it up. And then my colleague, Paul, will show you what happens next on the back end as the government agency receives this request from the citizen. Paul?
Thanks, Dux. So in this demo, I'm a dispatcher in our city's 311 call center, right? So it's my job to take all of those service requests that come in, whether they come in person, by email, over a chat bot, sent in from an IoT device, or even from Dux's mobile device there, and take them and triage them so they get to the appropriate department that will solve it. And this page here is our request management page, and it's really my command center for all things about service requests that come in from my constituents. And I just refreshed the page here so I can see the graffiti or blight that Dux has submitted. And so I'm just going to pop it open. I can see all the different details around here. Now, this is our interface that we built, but the data is actually living in Dynamics at this point. You can see his photograph and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and assign this, and it's going to assign it to the appropriate department. Now, we have different types of service requests. We have things that are related to electricity, problems with roads like potholes, and things like graffiti. All of those are managed by different types of departments and maybe even outside agencies. And they all have their own unique workflow. So one of the things that we're able to do is submit this case and throw it over the wall to field service. So in this case, the group that handles graffiti manages their resources and their forecasting and so forth, and their whole resolution process in Dynamics for field service. Because of the integration with the Dynamics platform, we can throw this over the wall and it becomes a work order in field service, and they can kind of go on about their business to resolve the case. So I'm going to refresh over here. I'm now in field service. You'll see this should be familiar to you from Lewis's demo. And that work order will have all of the details that were captured when Dux submitted his service request here. And it sort of seamlessly gets into the natural workflow that they've already established, right? They don't have to be trained on a new system or anything like that. So it's a really nice type of integration. Because we've thrown it over the wall into field service, we also get all the goodness that lives over there, right? So all of the sophisticated tooling around forecasting, asset management, the ability to even kind of see what's on the docket for the day and drill down into the street view and see if there might be any obstacles that are going to arise from as we try to resolve this issue. And I can even go ahead and book the new work order that's come in and assign that to the appropriate individual. So I'm going to book this for Dux.
Telling me to fix this graffiti here. I think I'm overdressed just to fix a graffiti, but you never know. Work hazard, right? So Paul made that booking for me to take care of. And Dynamics 365 comes with a lot of great apps. One of the apps that comes on the iOS is the Field Service app. So imagine I'm out on the street. Paul makes that booking. I get it, and then it alerts on my phone. So as you can see, based on this app, I can see all my bookings, all the activities I need to work on, and I can work on it. Once I'm done, I'll update it. I can even take a picture, and as soon as I hit submit, then the information will be sent back. Obviously, Paul will know about it, but more importantly, the requester, the citizen, would definitely find that out as well.
Great. One of the things that I wanted to point out about the extensibility of the Dynamics 365 platform is it's allowed us to adapt our strategy and be a little bit more efficient. One example of that is we built a pretty straightforward, and I would call it like sort of a simple workflow built into our part of the application. And that allows us to address smaller municipalities and cities that maybe don't have outside systems that they're already using for those types of processes. By leveraging the integration with field service, we can, sorry?
The video?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We can address a more sophisticated market, larger cities, those that have established processes, those that are already using field service, without having to build our own tooling around all that kind of sophisticated forecasting and so forth. So that's been a big boon.
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is Param was describing earlier, while Dynamics 365 certainly is a great platform, but the broader integration with the Azure stack, for example. So in this case, for any type of decision maker in the city who would want to see an update, let's say the mayor or the council, a councilor wants to see, okay, what's going on with this request? So they can pull this up, and what this is, it's embedded Power BI, pulling all the data from Dynamics CRM, and we can see all the stats, and as you may imagine, we can slice and dice it however we want. In addition, this is also integrated to Cortana, so certainly you can speak to it. You can say, hey, Cortana, show me all the outstanding requests around street lights. And again, very powerful and very capable, and more importantly, it's scalable as well. Now, speaking of advanced workloads, earlier Param was describing we live in this new world of technologies and AI, and one of the really powerful things in this scenario is the integration with IoT. So in this example, we're using IoT capabilities that Azure provides. We tapped into a lot of the streetlight data from the past for the city of Chicago. What can we do with this? What we can do is we can say, okay, in the next 3 months, tell me which bulbs will go bad. You talk about being proactive. In this scenario, I don't even have to wait for somebody to report that the light is broken. I can be more proactive as a government agency to go out and fix the lights. And you see that button that says place order? Because of the flexibility of the Microsoft Cloud Platform, we can integrate with existing line of business systems that certainly a lot of government agencies would have. Now, oftentimes when I talk with government leaders and we talk about technologies like IoT, AI, machine learning, it's all like buzzwords. But when we talk about it in this context, this is very meaningful. Because one of the things I found out recently is like, Dux, do you know that 70% of crimes happen in the cities that are in dimly lit areas? We're not talking about saving money because we're replacing bulbs. We can even think about it as saving lives, right? So these technologies are very compelling, and it's true to the tenet of what digital transformation is all about. What do you guys think? Useful? All right, so if you guys want to try this out, please go to App Stores or come and see us at the Expo Hall. We're at AppPoint, booth 301. We can certainly talk to you about this, how we built this, and you can even test drive it. So with that, thank you, Param. Very grateful for this opportunity.
That was awesome. What I really want to know is, how do I get the helmet and the harness? Because I'd like to take that home. Awesome. So as you saw in the demonstration, you know, there's Dynamics 365 apps that we ship out of the box. There's a lot of innovation that's happening on app stores, a lot of industry solutions, a lot of extensions to the horizontal scenarios that our partners, the ecosystem, is putting into the app stores through their own industry solutions. And more importantly, I think it's not to lose sight of this. It is very important for you and your business, especially in this digital era, to stay differentiated, to build upon our platform so that you can build the unique solution, the unique value prop that you bring to the table. And for that, I think all the way from building extensions and business logic to building integrations to building something, you know, the platform gives you the ability to be able to do all kinds of development, either as a power user or as a pro user, so you can develop and write code and build those capabilities that you like to be built out of that. So what does this all mean for you? It basically means that there's a lot of capability that we deliver to help you digitize your business. There's a lot of things that we're doing to help integrate the business applications end-to-end, whether it's transactional integration across those systems or integrating analytical information so that you can get the insights that you want to get out of that data. And last but not important, extensibility. Those of you that were here in this room for the previous session saw that we're now connecting the core CRM extensibility framework to Power Apps so that you can start to innovate not just in the model-driven architecture that the CRM platform supports, but also now start to extend that to Canvas-built applications that we can build using Power Apps and those capabilities like that. So very quickly, before I wrap up, what is next? What are some of the things that we're focused on for the next 6 to 12 months? So specifically for the next 6 months. Before I get into that, actually, I want to make one announcement. Most of the new product demonstrations that you saw today about the new user experience or virtual entity or the integration platforms, all of them were in preview. You may have noticed the word preview on the top of the screen there. All of that is going to be generally available in the first week of October. So starting next week, you'll be able to start to use that to run a trial environment and all based on that. Beyond that, these are some of the things that we're focused on doing and innovating on part of that. So one of the capabilities that we provide in the application today is relationship analytics, which basically says that I'm going to look at how you're communicating and contacting your customers through activities in the sales app. But on top of that, bring in the data from Office 365 to know what my health score is based on how much I'm contacting the customers. We're doing a lot of work with LinkedIn to make sure that that graph of information, that calculation of my health score is now powered not just through Office 365 and the CRM activities, but is now powered through a lot of LinkedIn information as well. So if I exchange LinkedIn messages or do LinkedIn mail to build connections, all of that activity information will now be processed by the activity analytics system to create this data and to build upon the wealth of relationship intelligence that's available within the application. We're also going to make more innovation with LinkedIn in the form of more embedded widgets so that you can, in the timeline view, see the chart of what LinkedIn is doing, be able to have more immersive experiences available so you can see LinkedIn mail directly through them. So those are the core pillars of what you'll see from us over the next 6 months. I'd say 2 other big pillars of investment that we're focused on. First is a core principle in Microsoft's strategy, which is to help every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And by every, we mean everybody. So we are building every part of our application, whether it's end user or whether it's an admin function, whether it's somebody configuring the application, to be accessible, right? To be completely accessible so that folks in your organization, that need special skills to use the application are able to use that. So that's a huge investment that we're putting in, and it's happening across all of Microsoft. We're also very, very proud to be part of that effort. The second thing is GDPR. GDPR is, for those of you that don't know, is the law that goes into effect that protects privacy information of EU citizens. We are focused on ensuring that all of our applications are compliant before this law goes into effect. This law is going to go into effect in May of 2018. There's a lot you can find on the internet about GDPR if you don't know, but we're making sure that we're building in the capability to ensure that we are compliant with the law, and we're helping you be compliant with the law around GDPR as well. And my last slide for today is really around the ways in which we are engaging with you. We'd love to get your participation into the ways in which we're doing outreach. We've got things like roadmap.dynamics.com. You can go out there and get a perspective on what we're doing, what are in the roadmap, what are the things we're releasing, what are the things we're working on. And all of these sites are actually powered through the products that we sell to you, that we help you create your experiences with your customers. You can go to connect.microsoft.com to participate in early previews of our programs and get feedback on where the product is going. Give us feedback on what we're doing or what we're not doing. And the last but not the least is ideas. If you see something in the application and you wish that we did it differently, or we wish we did a little bit more, you can post an idea in ideas.dynamics.com. If somebody's already posted that idea, you can vote and say, yes, I agree, you should do this. Every release, we do a number of things that we just basically go and look at the most posted ideas and we enable them. Virtual entities demonstration you saw from Carlos today was an idea that came from ideas.dynamics.com. There's a few other things we've done in this release. Multi-select option sets. I want to select multiple option sets as I'm working through them. That's another thing that we've done. So every release, we take a few of these items and we incorporate that into our product. So with that, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't forget to give us some feedback. Tell us some of the things that were good. Tell us some of the things that were bad so that we can learn from it and make a better session next time. Thank you.